Start with breaking news. This is what is playing out right now just off I-35. Fire crews have their hands full with a massive warehouse fire.
You can see all the smoke in the air. It's happening right now on Rittiman Road on the northeast side. Our John Paul Barajas is there on the ground now. John Paul, what have you learned so far?
Is very limited. We're waiting to hear from the chief any minute now. What we do know is that a warehouse, it appears to be a warehouse, caught fire. The cause of that is unknown. It used to be a motorsports shop, but we're told that has been vacated, and inside is only pallets. It is a very large fire. This is honestly one of the biggest fire presence and first responder presence I've seen on scene. This goes on for blocks and blocks and blocks. They tell us that firefighters have everything under control at this moment, but they will be here for quite some time trying to get out hot spots. And obviously all the smoke in the area makes it very difficult. Just driving up the freeway from downtown, you could see the clouds of smoke for miles back. Right now, no firefighters have been injured, or everybody's doing okay, including in this heat. They don't have any injuries that they're aware of, so that is good news. But this is going to take some time to figure out what caused this and to get everything under control. Right now, Matt, if you could pan over to my right and just showcase some of these. Well, right here, actually, they actually just lowered this ladder, but moments ago, this ladder and 3 others were full extension and all hitting the fire from up above in all different angles. No resource is going unused at this moment to make sure everything stays under control, and they put out all the hot spots. I'm going to take a walk just around the corner to see if I can get a better vantage point around this fire truck. Not too much to see. The entire building is at a loss. This is right next to an action pawn shop. Still lots of information to be gathered. They had just moved us over to this location. We were probably about 3 blocks down, closer to a Taco Cabana, not even 5 minutes before the newscast started. They brought us down here now that things are under control, and they're expecting the chief to come and address all the media that's here. As soon as we get more information, we'll provide that to you. John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
John Paul, thank you. And we continue to have more breaking news tonight. A woman out on bond for a DWI charge is now behind bars again. And this time it was for a deadly hit and run.
Yeah, the incident happened earlier this week on the northeast side, so it's not known if alcohol was actually a factor this time. This is Savannah Mercedes Lopez, walked in front of our cameras tonight. She stayed silent, kept her head low. According to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, Lopez traveling at a high rate of speed when she hit and killed a 62-year-old man in the 7600 block of Glen Meadows on Monday night.
Now, the victim's body was found Tuesday morning. The sheriff's office believes that he was homeless. The suspect is facing charges of failure to stop and render aid causing death, which, by the way, is a 3rd-degree felony.
We have also learned tonight that disgraced former state senator Carlos Uresti will be released from federal prison tomorrow after serving 4 years and 4 months of his 12-year federal prison sentence.
Now, his attorney sent out a press release announcing the early release. Uresti was found guilty of 11 different felony counts related to money laundering and fraud. He was ordered to pay more than $6 million in restitution to the people that he defrauded.
Uresti's attorney and friend Michael Watts celebrated the early release due to good conduct in the First Step Act. That gives credits for time served and the threat of recidivism. The former state senator quoted in the press release as saying he is, quote, a better man, end quote. We will cover Uresti's release from federal prison again. That is expected sometime tomorrow.
Now, speaking of tomorrow, I was reading that the TSA expects it to be the busiest travel day for the 4th of July holiday. So people are going to want to know their forecast, how to get ready. They'll send things on over to our meteorologist, Adam Caskey.
And, around here, we actually have a bit of breaking weather news as we did not hit 100 degrees today. That's the nice thing. 99, the high, so close to 100. And Del Rio ended its 11-day streak of record high temperatures. The heat high is loosening its grip on us. And tomorrow, I think we'll be just shy of 100, making it to 99 for the high. It'll feel like it's about 103 degrees, a lot of sunshine, southeasterly wind at 10 to 20. Temperatures will be dropping even more. We'll talk about how much lower and when, along with rain chances returning. And the newest drought monitor is in. I'll show you the part of Texas that is an island of extreme drought in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Adam. Well, here, besides the forecast, something else to consider this holiday weekend. For the first time in decades, A South Texas resident has been diagnosed with malaria.
Yeah, so what that means is that disease-carrying mosquitoes are buzzing in the Lone Star State. It's one of 5 cases reported in the United States in 20 years.
The Night Team's Patty Santos tells us what questions to ask your doctor if you're feeling sick after a bite.
Knowledge is key to ensuring malaria doesn't become permanent in Texas, says UT Health San Antonio Dr. Jason Bowling.
We don't want people to be alarmed, but we want people to be aware. Staying away from mosquito bites.
Easier said than done when you step outside at dusk or dawn. The CDC is sending out alerts asking people to take precautions while outdoors and warning medical staff to be on the lookout for the symptoms and test for it.
Fever, chills, feeling bad, feeling tired, headache. People can have pretty significant headache. Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea can happen, muscle weakness.
This is malaria parasites here. So these ring stages here are kind of early in the parasite life cycle.
Scientist Dr. Ian Cheeseman at Texas Biomedical Research Institute has been studying the genetics and mutations of malaria for 15 years.
One of the major issues we're dealing with in malaria right now is the emergence and spread of drug resistance.
He says South Texas has the heat and rainy conditions for the parasite to spread. Simply put, his job is to make sure the medicine currently available to treat malaria stays effective.
Each one of these is going to burst out and infect a new uninfected red blood cell. So at the kind of peak of malaria disease, you can see that the parasite can really quickly colonize the blood.
Long sleeves, pants, and repellent are a good way to keep malaria at bay.
And malaria can be deadly if it's not treated quickly. Now, keep the symptoms in mind after your holiday outdoors. Doctors say even if sickness is mild, early testing and treatment can be a lifesaver. Steve, Stefania.
And just carry that repellent around. Thank you, Patty. New on the Nightbeat, lots of questions after an apparent drive-by shooting happened just before 6 o'clock at Buffalo and Chalmers near Division Avenue. That's on the city's south side. San Antonio police say that when they got there, they found a man who had been shot several times. That man is now in the hospital. We still don't know how he's doing right now. At this point, investigators haven't found the shooter or shooters. So stay with us on air and online for updates on this developing story.
6 vehicles stolen from a local car dealership, and investigators say they have found one of the people who did it. Police arrested 31-year-old Leon Eugene Davis yesterday. He's charged with 6 felonies, including theft of a vehicle, evading arrest, and aggravated assault of a public servant. According to an arrest affidavit, Davis and 2 women stole the vehicles from the North Park Lincoln dealership that's on San Pedro. Police say they have surveillance video of the crime, which allegedly shows the suspects using a vehicle to bust through the entrance gate of that dealership.
99 years in prison. That is the sentence that this man got for killing his aunt.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Michael Todd Phipps, guilty of the offense of murder. Count 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Michael Todd Phipps, guilty of the offense of manslaughter.
You just heard it right there. It took a jury just over an hour to convict Michael Phipps in the deadly shooting of Becky Ibarra back in June of 2019. Ibarra went to her mother's home where Phipps was living. The two got into an argument about a money card when Phipps said that Ibarra attacked him. Phipps went on to say that he was acting in self-defense when he grabbed a gun out of his pocket, but obviously the jury didn't buy his story.
Could we finally be closer to getting answers to some of our questions about the tragic shooting in Uvalde? 19 children, 2 teachers killed when a gunman targeted Robb Elementary May 24th of last year. Since then, people have pointed the finger at law enforcement, asking why officers waited more than an hour to confront the shooter. So much of what happened remains a mystery more than a year after it happened. But today, a district judge told the Department of Public Safety it has to start releasing public records that have to do with law enforcement and how they responded to the shooting. Now, DPS could fight that and appeal. We have the full story right now on KSAT.com. Colleges across the country will now be forced to stop considering race in the admissions process.
This comes after the Supreme Court ruled today to end affirmative action programs and policies.
Our night team's Avery Everett looked into the question tonight that a lot of people have been asking. Avery, what's next for college admissions?
Well, Steve, Stephanie, there's still a lot that's up in the air with the Supreme Court ending affirmative action. But what we do know is it's set to begin this fall. So high school students entering their senior year will actually be the first applicants to have no more colleges that can't have that race-conscious policies. The court's decision changes legal precedent that has been in place for more than 40 years. For two groups I spoke with today, they say this decision was more than disappointing.
So for them to strike down affirmative action based on equality and based on the fact that they're trying to somehow remedy race as an issue in terms of admissions is really sad.
The whole idea of behind affirmative action was not to take rights or opportunities away from anyone. It was to recognize the challenges that we've had and that some groups of people have been placed at a disadvantage.
But some state lawmakers saw this as a victory. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz said in a statement that it was a great day for Americans. He called affirmative action, quote, government-sanctioned racial discrimination, and said the Supreme Court's decision today restored objectivity to the admissions process. This ruling happened just hours ago, but colleges have already started to respond. The president at UTSA said in part that he was not anticipating any impact from this decision because race is not used in the UTSA admissions process. It's likely that the impact of this decision will be seen at some of the country's most selective colleges, which have been known to factor race into the decision of an admission. On KSAT.com, we have an article breaking down what this could mean for legacy admissions and what changes we're likely to see in the coming months with college admissions process. But for now, I'm Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
Still a lot of questions about that ruling today. Thank you, Avery. 4 local restaurants racked up dozens of health code violations, leading inspectors to revisit 3 of them. Tim Gerber shows us what was found when they went back behind the kitchen door.
Health inspectors had to revisit several local restaurants that racked up numerous health code violations last month.
The night team's Tim Gerber on what they found behind the kitchen door.
Angie's Cafe, located in the 1200 block of Pleasanton Road, got a low score of 73. The inspector saw at least 5 small roaches in the signage above the sink. Containers of diced potatoes and sanitizing solution were sitting on the floor. Uncovered raw beef was on top of a pan holding cooked food. Other foods were found sitting out at room temperature while foods in a cooler were too warm. A thorough cleaning was needed to remove a heavy residue of dust and grease. A re-inspection was ordered. El Siete Mares got a 79, the same score they had nearly a year ago when they were featured on BKD. The inspector told them not to leave tartar sauce out at room temp. They also needed to remove the cans of Raid in the kitchen. Knives and other utensils were being stored in between equipment and on walls that were dirty. Water from fans in a walk-in cooler was dripping into a container of raw fish. They were told to make corrections by their next routine inspection. Ray Ray's Tex-Mex at 346 East Mitchell earned an 80 and a re-inspection. The ice machine needed to be cleaned to remove black buildup. The gasket seals on a refrigeration unit also had a black buildup and needed to be replaced. An employee was wearing torn gloves and rinsing them in highly concentrated bleach water. Several items needed to be thoroughly cleaned to remove grease and residue. They were given 10 days to make corrections. Dairy Queen in the 3200 block of Southwest Military Drive got an 82. Uncovered food was found next to a bottle of bleach. There was a black residue on the inside of the ice machine. A fan in a walk-in cooler was draining into a bucket with a pool of water on the floor. The cold hold unit was soiled with food and debris, and more trash and debris was found behind and below equipment. They were told to remove the grease buildup on the griddle. A re-inspection was set for this month. For Behind the Kitchen Door, Tim Gerber, KSAT 12 News.
All right, now we're going to take a live look outside in our live cam. 87 degrees out there right now. All right, and you know, the holiday weekend is upon us. A lot of people are not working tomorrow. They're going to be traveling for the 4th of July holiday. So lay it on us, Adam.
Yeah, and a lot of people headed to the beach, the waterways around here, and the lakes are all down and below their conservation pools. Even Canyon Lake down more than usual. Temperatures are going to be dropping a little bit. Take a look at our trend and notice how we'll be in the upper 90s the next several days, all the way through the weekend, tomorrow basically through Sunday. And then we drop down into the mid 90s as we get into next week. Talking 95, the high temperature on Wednesday. That's closer to average. Now the heat high, you can see just by looking at the colors on this map for high temperatures, before I put the numbers on, the pink and red, some of the hottest temperatures in the nation right underneath that heat high. It's because it's pressing down on us right near 100, basically all across Texas and the Mid-South as well. Even Wichita, 102, Dallas, 101, El Paso, high temperature of 104. Now, that upper level heat high will slowly be pushing eastward, and as it does so, it's going to break down. But also, it's steering the thunderstorm activity. So the storms don't move into the middle of it. It's basically deflecting. The steering winds are deflecting the storms up and around it. So the severe thunderstorms and even just the garden variety storms were all through the midsection of the country and into the Ohio Valley today. That's going to be the case again tomorrow. We're on the upper edge. Sometimes we call those ridge riders, and that's what we're going to see more of. That, again, the high breaking down is going to lead to a slight chance of showers for us. Notice how it moves off to the east, and then we'll have a split high pattern with two weak ones flanking Texas, but really not significantly influencing us. In turn, doors open for some rain. This is just a generalized look at rainfall potential over the next 7 days. Darker greens indicate higher potential. It's just nice to see some of this potential creeping into our neck of the woods, and we could use every drop of it. Rain chances are only 20% starting next week. Monday at 10%, then 20% in the afternoons, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Here's the newest drought monitor, updated today every Thursday. Texas Hill Country stands out. Fredericksburg, Kerrville, Bandera, Comfort, Sisterdale, Blanco, even Bulverde. Look how it's just an island of extreme and exceptional drought for the entire state. The worst drought in the entire state is isolated to the Texas Hill Country. No other part of Texas has drought as bad as the Texas Hill Country. Again, we'll take every drop we can get. As for the tropics, nothing moving in anytime soon. 10% chance of development south of Bermuda. It's unlikely to happen. So we look to the Pacific. Sometimes we get moisture from there. Tropical storm Beatrice and Hurricane Adrian not really going to be impacting us. We could get some high clouds from Beatrice as we get into next week. That's just it. Probably some cirrus clouds up above us. So no influence from tropical moisture, at least not yet. 77 in the morning, 99 the high temperature, feeling like 103, a lot like today. Southeasterly wind at 10 to 20. Del Rio, 101 tomorrow. Another day below a record high. That's something to celebrate after 11 days in a row of record heat. Gonzales, 98, along with Lackland, Leon Springs, 96, and New Braunfels, 99. Cross your fingers for your neighborhood because the coverage is going to be limited with those rain chances next week, including the 4th of July. So cross your fingers because I think it's just going to be very isolated in nature. But it's a situation that could change, so check back in with us as the time nears.
All right, Adam, thank you.
All right, I know we've all been caught up in Wemby fever.
Yes.
But the Spurs have a lot of young talent on this team.
They really do. And you know what? And the roster, they all wish that Wemby was going to play in the California League because they really want to take a chance out there and play with them, throw them a ball, lob it, slam dunk, easy kind of stuff. But Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley, in the meantime, are going to be the leaders of the squad going out to California. And MAC grad Josh Young is having an all-star season coming up. Led by the #1 overall NBA draft pick, Victor Wembanyama, and the Spurs open up Summer League training camp today at the Spurs practice facility. Victor will skip the California Classic and will join the Spurs in Las Vegas late next week. The Cali squad will be led by second-year guards Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley. Summer League head coach Matt Nielsen likes the attitude and work ethic both guys are bringing to off-season workouts.
We have good players in this team, skill sets, all that kind of stuff, but their attitudes are in the right spot right now. They're hungry, they want to get better, and you can say all that, but the actions that, Blake's, Malachi's, and Jeremy's, and the list goes on, have been in here doing the reps at all hours, and I think that's the most exciting part, is giving them a chance to now play and use some of that in the summer is great.
They definitely want to see us grow from the first Summer League last year and, this year, so I feel like all the players, from me, Blake, Julian, Dom, all of them. I feel like we all are taking a step. So I'm really excited to play.
Spurs are also excited to meet their new teammates at Wemby and Sidi Sissoko. We went one-on-one with Wesley after practice to get his thoughts on Wembanyama.
When I first learned about it, I mean, I saw his highlights. People know what he can do. People know what he can do on the court. So he's long, athletic, can dunk very easy, can shoot it. And then when I first saw him walk into it, I was like, wow, this is my first time seeing him. He's long and shook his hands big. So yeah, so I'm like, yeah, we're blessed to have this guy. 7'3", 7'5".
Right.
That's big, and it can like a guard. So that's good.
Have you already daydreamed a little bit about throwing him a sweet lob and he just throws it?
For sure, yeah. It's gonna be lobs in summer league in Vegas for sure. It's gonna be a lot of lobs. He's gonna get passing ball, a lot of assists, pick and pop. So yeah.
Spurs will play 2 games in the California Classic on July 3rd and then the 5th before heading to Las Vegas. Earlier at 6, we told you about Providence basketball star Callista Bird Martin. She's one of the best combo guards in the United States, ranked 91 out of 100 in the class of 2024 by ESPNW. Back on June 10th, Martin verbally committed to Texas Tech. We stopped by Providence to ask her what Red Raiders head coach Krista Gerlich likes about her game.
She said she loves my versatility, that I can play 1 through 4, and that's what she's looking for. She loves big guards, and so I that's what the big thing for me and for her that she saw in me.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me about playing with SA Finest, man. You got some good players on that squad.
Yes. I love SA Finest. I've been playing for Coach Ray since I was in 7th grade, and I love everything about Finest. It's going to be like one of the hardest things leaving Finest, but I think he's prepared me well for my next step in my basketball career.
Okay. What are you going to miss about playing high school ball here with Providence?
So I think I'm going to miss the girls the most, especially because we were a really young team this year. And so it was a lot of fresh, 8th graders coming out of 8th grade, and I'm really going to miss them. I feel like they look up to me, and they've said that, which is really big for me. And I think I'm going to miss them most.
Martin's future is clear. She's taken summer school to graduate from Providence in December so she can join Texas Tech in January of next year. Josh Young is heading to Seattle after the break. 4 members of the Texas Rangers were voted MLB All-Star starters, including third baseman Josh Young. The rookie would join teammates Jonah Heim, Marcus Semien, and Corey Seager in Seattle for the All-Star game. Young, from MacArthur High School, is set to become the first Rangers rookie to start an All-Star game since the franchise moved to Texas in 1972. As for today's scores, the Tigers beat the Rangers 8-5, and the Astros hammered the Cardinals 14-0. In Texas League, the Missions edged out the Rough Riders 3-2 at Wolf Stadium. And check it out, UTSA football having a good time today because the guys got their Conference USA Championship rings, back-to-back CUSA champs, and it obviously feels good. The Roadrunners will officially join the American Athletic Conference on July the 1st.
Good for them.
That's how you
party
right
there. Celebrate, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Do that again? There you go. We'll be right back.
You'll fit in.
Now, before we go, we want to give you an update on that massive fire on Ritterman Road that we began the newscast with. I mean, these pictures were just incredible. Smoke seen from miles away. We just learned minutes ago this was a motorcycle repair shop that's now empty. Fire Chief Charles Hood says the building is just gone. It's completely destroyed.
Yeah, the chief also says at 1.39 fire units were on the scene fighting those flames. Some of those crews will be staying there for a few more hours, putting out hot spots. Nobody hurt in this. No firefighters or any civilians as well. We'll continue to follow this online and on air tomorrow on Good Morning San Antonio for the very latest.
Looking at our power generation across Texas today at 5 o'clock, hottest part of the day, 55% came from fossil fuels, 39% renewables. That jumped a little bit compared to days past, and 6% nuclear. So just interesting fact there. By the way, tomorrow, CPS Energy, peak demand day, a yellow day. Try to conserve between 3 and 8.
All right. Stay cool and have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
That's PM, not AM. PM.
Yeah.